And the first one is a kind of you probably are already aware of it. You've seen the job announcement go up at the college he works at. But Daniel Martinez, one of the co facilitators here for for this group, is retiring, and he's given a lot to this. Oh, hey Daniel, did you want to say something? I didn't know you were coming here.
No, I just no, thank you.
You'll have a speech.
No, no screen.
uh, well, I just like to say that I know Daniel. It's given a lot to this field. I know for me, it was my first one of my first CARE conferences I went to. I went to a presentation of his, and it was probably the best one I went to at the conference. I still remember it today. It was building data dashboards with Excel before we did before Power BI, and it was awesome. So thank you, Daniel, for everything. And we will have an opening on the as a co-facilitator if anybody's interested. So if you're interested, you reach out to us and can talk about how that would look. Um, Also, we have a website up that Katie has built, and it's pretty amazing. It has all of the videos and everything that from past. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, Katie, but it has the videos of the Power BI meetings from last. It has a survey that you can take, which would be if you'd like to be give a presentation at one of these meetings, you can submit an proposal right there. It's just like real short paragraph. What do you want to, what are you going to present? Um, and that would be really helpful because we'd like to, have more varied presenters at this convening. Um, I think that's it. Anything I missed? Anything, Katie? No? Okay. All right. So our presentation today is going to be Emil, and I'm, I'm going to. I just asked you how to pronounce it. I know I can't get it. Can you say it one more time? I'm sorry. I'm going to
Sure,
pronounce your
it's
last.
Emil Mobile Action.
Mobile action. Okay. Emil, mobile action. Okay, great. He's going to give us a great presentation. If you've been to these communities more, Emil has great advice for everybody that's given here. And he's going to give us a presentation on AI for accessible institutions. And I'm going to hand it over to him and I think we can kick it off. Thank you.
Okay, let's go. Okay, can you confirm that you can see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, great. Um, well, first of all, thank you everybody for coming here. I'm happy to be here as well. Um, I am a research analyst at Los Angeles Mission College, and I primarily do work with Power BI. So I spend like all these days working with getting the data into something that people can actually use. And today we're going to talk about the challenge that probably every analyst in this room will run into this year, and that's making these Power BI dashboards accessible under ADA Title II Compliance Act, and how we can use the AI to make this work faster and not, harder. So we're going to spend about, I'm guesstimating probably like 20, 25 minutes. I'm around a little over. And you're gonna walk with the pattern of like what you need to do, what to check, what to fix, and where you can actually use AI to do your work, to help you do your work. But let's start with something that actually set this all up, right? So in April 24, the Department of Justice finalized the ruling that under 80 Title II Compliance Act, that the public entities, including public community colleges, must make the web content and mobile apps accessible. And I'm sure all of you, just like myself, have received over the past months or so a barrage of emails saying that we need to do the work, we need to make sure it's ready. I mean, the due date was actually tomorrow, I think, but we actually got a 1 year extension, even though has been over in 2 years. Um, so the standard is called WCAG 2.1 level AA. So that's double A, and this is like the floor. So it's a minimum standard, right? So it's not about just the website. It's also related to PDF that we post, the form that we send, the dashboard that we share. So everything has to be, anything public facing that lives on the screen should be accessible. Uh, so I think like our district is population over has a population over 50,000 students. So we have to be compliant by the next year, the April of next year. So we have 1 year, and it was an extension. Uh, some smaller colleges will have another extra year to do that, I think. So there's nothing wrong about it. I mean, like we've been hearing about this coming in, but obviously there's a lot of work that keeps piling up. I mean, we all know how much we have to do, and some things just naturally kind of left for a little longer, and that's because sometimes it's harder to do those things, or like we're not necessarily have, even though we have the tools. So and access really, it's our mission. Like community colleges exist to open the doors to students, so we have to keep digital accessibility to make sure that we keep this promise alive. And the other part of it is we want to make sure that our colleagues, our staff, faculty, also those that may need this accessibility, they're able to access all of that, because we need as many partners in this journey as we can. So curiously, I looked at quickly looked at the ADA in the LLM, the AI LLM explosion, and it sort of coincided with this time. And I find it's very interesting that it's kind of the same tool that is show the gap, but it can also help us to close it. So we already have some of the tools available, right? I mean, in the Word documents, in PDFs, and Excel, you have the accessibility checker built in. There are browser plugins that can scan web pages, and they can show you like color mapping, how it would look for the people with the color deficiency. And a lot of those things are like kind of familiar. We also have the new wave of things coming in. For example, the chatbots that as a matter of fact, a colleague of mine in this ODA coordinator developed a chatbot called Joshua, and there's a link there. So I will be sharing this presentation, by the way, after this, so you'll be able to access all of those. So my colleague developed this chatbot that help the faculty and staff, those who work on the website, to check and to work with the accessibility to make sure that it's working well. But obviously we still have issues, and this is the Power BI, right? There's a very few there's nothing kind of accessibility checker the way that we would expect it to be from Word. There's issues there. And on top of that, it's just a lot. Like we have lots of visuals, and there's a lot of kind of different components that we need to make sure that are accessible. And this is the gap that we'll be addressing. Okay, as you all know, I mean, when you look at the Power BI, it looks great, but this is just like a very, very top tip of the iceberg, right? There's a lot goes in there. I mean, I'm sure you all know that, before you get the data into that format, you need to get it, you need to clean it, you need to transform it, you need to adjust it and do a lot of work. And before all those fancy visas and bookmarks and filter appear on the stage, there's a lot of work happening before that. And that's ETL, that's data modeling, that's SQL, and that's DAX. And like all those, we all have to manage all these different responsibilities. On top of that, we have to, I mean, not to mention that we have to adhere with the data security, data governance, and understand the business logic of why the things are being put the way they are. So there's just a lot to keep up with. So it's not it's not surprising that accessibility is sometimes it's the thing that not a lot of people see, right? So it's not coming up to the top naturally. So it's kind of tend to be left there to do it when we have the time. Now, before we kind of go into the accessibility, we need to lay out a foundation. And the foundation is the certain things that the AI can help us with, and the certain things that we need to take care of ourselves. Like I was gonna say that we have had, I mean, in this community, we have had a number of presentations that already touched on the subject. There are a couple of links here that link to the YouTube videos that Katie put on the website uh, that actually talks about that. A year ago, our colleague John Barkman, Dr. Barkman, presented a great presentation about developing, like streamlining development of the dashboards and how it is important to have a proper tab order in the dashboard, how it's important to set it up, and how design is a like huge part of it, right? I mean, because naturally, when you look at the screen, when a regular person look at the screen, you kind of tend to regularly, I mean, you you just follow the Z pattern. So you start from the top left and you move across in the Z pattern to read and look at the information. Uh, and it's just natural. That's the way we read books. That we look at the you know pictures and whatnot. That's the way that we take this information. But for people who with the visual deficiency, they have to rely on the tools like screen readers to actually look at the or use the keyboard to navigate between the points between the slices, for instance, and between the visuals. They have to use the other tools, and for those tools to be efficient, after the everything has to be set up in a certain order. So in the same order that we would normally read it. So you go, all the visits kind of follow the Z pattern. Now the and but also I mean, so there's so this is the work that happens kind of up there, like right there in the dashboard. Um, the other piece that not visible to majority of the people who use the dashboard is what goes underneath that. It's the backstage, and there the star schema really shines again. It helps the star schema with the fact table in the middle and the dimension tables surrounded really helps to look at the information and coincidentally helps to utilize these AI tools in a better way, in a better form. And I'll show you in a minute as well. The the last portion is that you don't have to use when we use the AI, it doesn't actually need our real students' data. We don't need to have the information, the actual student information. What we can do, we can utilize synthetic data, and AI can help there as well. You can very quickly write a script, I mean, the prompt that will generate a data set for you that has no actual real information, but it will work just as well for the purposes of designing and testing the dashboard. And then you can use that, perfected dashboard and just fill in the real data into it, and it will work just as fine. And AI never have laid a hand on a single bit of information that is actual. So going back to the star schema, I wanted to mention that it it's actually a tool to streamline your thinking, to clarify what you want. But at the same time, AI in some ways, I mean, I feel like, especially the analysts, start to think about AI thinks in the same like things that we think alike, and I want to say that AI is our partner. It's not even the tool; it's our partner in our work, and the more we can think alike, kind of going back and forth, the more useful it will be. Okay, so before I dive into the actual stuff, I wanted to say caveat emptor, right? Um, you have to if you want to adopt anything today, this is not an advice. I'm just showing you the information. It's for your information. So that doesn't mean that you have to take it and use it, run it with the same way that you will do it, right? You own your data. You are responsible for the safety, privacy, and accuracy of every data set you touch, whether it's on laptop or you put on AI tool. And obviously, never, ever, ever put anything personally identifiable information into the agents or into any of the AI. And that's what I was talking about using the star schema and synthetic data to mitigate those issues before they arise. You don't have to get there. Okay, so again, coming back, there are some basic rules for the safety of working with AI. One rule is very simple to keep the sensitive data out. Uh, None of our dashboards almost ever need any actual information. In all of our dashboards, I mean, the rule within our district is to have zero personal identifiable information in the data sets. So there's nothing there, like, I mean, there's a string of numbers that doesn't mean anything for anybody if they able to lay their hands on it in some way. It's impossible, right? So let's take it out. Second question is like, AI is the you all know aware that working with AI, it can be messy. So I would say, like, from my own experience, I would say first, you always want to have a backup. You always want to have a copy, a clean copy. And before do anything like working with AI, make sure that you have the backup copy, play with it, save it, test it like along the ways. Don't let it run the whole thing and then it's gonna mess things up. Because it did for me, and I mean, I was able to figure things out and fix them. But it's just for your own sake of mind, peace of mind, right? Also, again, you all aware that uh, you never want to kind of put everything into AI and just trust that it's going to give you a perfect answer. It's one of the things I kind of hear sometimes is like, well, AI doesn't really give a good answer. I asked it to do X calculation and it didn't. It gave me like a complete messed up stuff. And I think, again, like there's sometimes a tendency maybe to think of AI as like kind of a giant calculator or computer that makes the calculation, and it really works a little differently. Um, it operates almost in the same terms that kind of normal people do. And when we think about it, uh, there's a certain, I mean, the whole reason why we all have the job is that faculty and staff and everybody else and students, they all need somebody who can translate technical terms to a human terms. I sometimes think of ourselves as like translators, right? We are in some ways very similar to AI because we take some numbers and then we convert into meaningful insights. And the AI works in very similar way, but it works differently because so like if you ask the same question AI, it will almost never give you exactly the same answer twice because it's not. I mean, it's not there's a fuzziness, there's an uncertainty there. And it can be both good and bad. It could be good because it can lead you to something you wouldn't expect, but it could be bad if you just 100% rely on it and just trust in it blindly. So, okay. So the come to think of it like, what are the best way to work with the AI? So one, again, coming back to that synthetic option and star schema, we are working, when we send the data to AI or when we send the information to AI, we send it the structure, not the actual information, not the actual student data. We send it kind of a description of what it is, right? We can include like column names, the, the relationship between the tables, and so on and so forth. And it takes it and it makes the work because it doesn't really need the real data to work with it. So I'm gonna switch over to Power BI real quick, and I'll show you what I mean. So okay. So what AI doesn't work with anything that's contained in tables. What it works with is it works with these relationships. It works with the DAX measures. Like if I make a right click and say define all measures in this model, it'll look and say, this is the calculations that I do, right? And it's just basically rules, right? It talks about like, how do I calculate the number of students? How do I calculate majors and whatnot? So this is one side. This is the kind of a business logic, the calculations. The other part of it is the Tyndall model, tabular model definition language, which was replaced about, I think, a year or two ago. There was a Tyndall model that was less clear. So, and again, it comes in like as a plain text. And the plain text is what AI understands the best. Because here it looks at it and say, okay, I'm creating a table. There are measures. Uh, there are tables that have certain data types and whatnot. But it doesn't need the actual data to go behind it to do its work. And what it can produce is actually pretty amazing. And so there are other ways to, I mean, there are multiple ways to use it, right? One way, I think we all started there, and I mean, I started there for sure, is just use the chatbot. Get your ChatGPT, your Copilot, your whatever, and just ask it a question. I want to create this measure. I want to create an alt text, or I want to make a description. And it's really good for that. And you can kind of work on that, and it kind of gradually lets you get where you want to be. Uh, and it does take time, and it's kind of like, sorry, it's a little bit, I mean, it's still manual process, right? When you look at it, the yeah, it will do it, but it will do it in chunks. So you'll do a little chunk at a time that will let you kind of improve what you have. And interestingly, we have this morning I received a message from our in the chat for our AI team. We have the AI team at the mission, and it was an article about how whether or not AI can hinder or kind of improve the cognitive tasks. And it was a study that, because I'm sure you all heard of study that AI makes us dumber, and it's as always the answer to this question, does it or not? It depends. It depends how we use it. One way to use it would be, again, like just do these little pieces and just kind of use it as a tool. If you, I can share the link to the article as well later on. Use it as a tool, and it kind of gives you just an output, or you can treat it as your partner in your work. And that's where, like, very recently discovered this tool. It's called Power BI MCP server. MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. And it's basically the MCP server, you can think of it as the AI that can do the same work, but it can utilize different tools for different purposes. So you talk to it like you would talk you would talk to a real person, an expert, and it's kind of a bridge between those tools and data set, right? So it helps you to inspect the model and work with the model without ever exporting the data. And like I tried it and I felt like so excited about it that that's when I reached out to Kathy and said, can I present that? Because I feel like this is a great tool and it comes at a great time for us to utilize it. So the AI can save us a lot of time there in addressing those accessibility issues with our dashboards, and we're gonna look at it on different levels. So one level you can think of it, sorry, it's self-accessibility. When you think about it, we have, you know, the data, the work that we do. Sometimes you will never notice what you're missing until tomorrow comes, because, like I said, the 90% of the work that we do is kind of hidden, and we have so much on our minds that you forget about it, right? The AI can help you a lot with that by just adding the description to tables, to columns, to measures, and everything else that documents your work, that let your future you, even if it's not you, it could be your colleague who inherits your work, to understand what you've done and have a good handle on it. The other side is, again, like I said, when you treat it as a partner, uh, it will check your work, but you will check its work as well. So you kind of like, you can miss the spell checking, right? The AI won't. um, or at least I hope it won't. And it will also help you to find certain things that you need to maybe adjust. You need to hide some columns or show some columns, and I will show some examples in a minute. Now the accessibility, I think, and the highest level for us is actually figuring out how can AI take those mundane tasks, the that we do on a daily basis, take them over, do it for us, and give us the time and ability to focus on more important things. Because we all have so many things to work on. There's never-ending list of projects, especially with the state coming in with all the changes. There are things that coming in to us all the time, and we need this. We need the time. The AI can help us with that. Just to give you an example. So I ran the kind of a quick check. I use the cloud to connect to the MCP server, and this is what like I ran the code, and I will show you a little bit how what kid came up with. So it found a few things that found the things that were misspelled. There were like some logic that was backwards. There were certain fields that were hidden and whatnot, and it fixed some of them like automatically because it just could. It also showed me a few things that needed some attention. So like from the point of view of accessibility, that maybe using the just highlighting is not enough. I need to have some sort of non-color signal to show it. The issues with the screen readers, like if I use emoji of up and down, it will read it, but it's not, it doesn't provide the meaning. So there are ways to make the reports better, especially when it comes to colors. But again, coming back to this is invisible accessibility. So the things that we need to take care of first is the tab order. Make sure that I'm going to switch to the dashboard again for a second. So when we look at the dashboard, there's a tab here that tells us selection and the tab order. So the tab order shows you how the information flows, And actually, I think I've been changing some of the things and it reshifted some of those. But basically, so you have everything kind of laid out in order, and you have everything going step by step, the same way that the normal, like if human being reads it, you will go left to right and top to bottom. So the tab order is the first point that we need to look at. The second piece is obviously the alt text. I'm going to gamble here. It doesn't have it. Okay. So we need to provide the alt text data for each visual and each filter on the row, because the screen readers, that's what they will do. They will read the things that are on the screen in that order. And we need to make sure that, unless it's a decorative image, it has some meaning. And you need to test it. You need to listen to your dashboard. There are narrator built in the Windows. There are other tools that you can use. You can just close your eyes and listen to what it tells you. And can you make sense out of what it's being shown? Okay, now the more kind of exciting and more interesting part is that for me, it's the visual accessibility. Like I said, there are multiple tools on the web that show you how the things will look in different colors with the color deficiency in different views, right? And the problem with that is like it can show you the problem, but how to fix it, right? I mean, you don't necessarily know like what colors can I use instead. And AI does this work brilliantly. It really does like look at the information and can help you with that. So all you need to do is to prompt it to say, okay, if I use this hex code, how can I make it better? And then you can either take this fix, so you can take the fixes it suggests, and you can just do the changes yourself in the Power BI, or you can utilize that MCP server to do it for you. But then you obviously want to verify what it looks like. It's a collaborator, not an approver. I mean, we still have the final say in it. That's an example of this dashboard that I was looking at. Like I mentioned, I try to use star schema because it helps you to organize the information in a more logical manner. For example, for our CAP, the CAP is career academic pathways, the guided pathways. that we have on our campus, and they do have actually colors. I collaborate with our the PR person, and I asked him for like all the information about the color schemas, what the official colors for our college and for the caps and whatnot. And he gave me all that information. So I tried to use it as it is. I put it the way, so I have the table that says for the each cap, that's the name, and this is the color that I'm going to use when I'm going to color it in the dashboard. And this is the colors, the hex code for the colors that I use. And as you can see, that some of them are pass and some of them fail. Some of them fail only large font, but some of them will fail both. And once you identify the issue, you ask the prop to fix it. Give me the alternative hex color that would look similar but passes those tests. And that's what the code did. It picked up those colors, it looked at the ratios, it picked something that would pass it, and it gave me the options. And it says, okay, for the other ones, you're good. You don't have to do anything. And it's kind of neat, right? And it gives you a little more rationale of like what it is and why it is and whatnot. Now look at the end result. I feel like this is really cool. I mean, it's a little harder to see on the like STEM and society and culture tabs that it's somewhat harder to read, but for undecided result, it's definitely an issue, right? And this is just enough color that I picked. I didn't have the color from the designer for that. So I just went with something random. Oops, sorry. And oh my God. And the fix went out really well. I mean, like if you compare the pictures to the left and right, I think you can tell that this is definitely more readable, right? It just looks better. Would you agree? Now, I just wanted to kind of like wrap it up before showing the kind of a workflow and say that accessibility should be a practice. It should be built in our work. It shouldn't be a checklist we just put off, right? And the way to work with it is that, start with a good schema. You have the clean schema that's easier to describe and easier for AI to understand and interpret. Use the AI on the structure, not the actual data. Back it up, verify it. And then, once you download the work, test it with the screen reader. If you haven't heard, you haven't tested. Okay, thank you for, I'll hang on for the questions, but I wanted to kind of go over that workflow that I showed. Okay, so this is the workflow that I use. So connecting the Power BI, by the way, I wish I would have a paid version of that app, and you will have some limitations working with that. But I do have just a free version. This is all I have. But changing it's as simple as going to settings and under connectors. Oh, sorry, no, developers. You basically providing a string in a text that will tell you, okay, you can connect to this tool from here. And there are some videos on YouTube that I can also point you out if you want to try it out. That will show you how to get there. It's fairly straightforward process. So all I have to do is just open the report, and I told it, okay, connect to this report. Basically, I prompted to connect to the open report, and I said, okay, can you connect to the Open Power BI desktop model? It looked at the model, and you can also truncate your model. Like if you use star schema, you don't have to use the entire text. Like instead of instead of giving it all the facts, even if they encrypted, you can just delete all the facts, just leave one row and fill in with dummy values, and you'll be like completely safe if you want to, right? And then you can say, okay, go ahead and now alt text to all the visuals and improve the accessibility. So it will look at it, it will go through the steps and say, okay, there's certain things that needs to be fixed. Some columns, we use them as helpers, they can be hidden. There's some visual text. It created all the measures with the visual text, with the alt text, I'm sorry, that I could use. I literally can just, because the alt text has the FX button, so you can use the Formula X button to kind of create a dynamic description of what's happening there. Um, so then there was some, I had to work a little bit with some decorated parameters to kind of modify things and troubleshoot things, get an error message, fixing it. So it's kind of a process, right? I mean, you're still working with it and just trying to figure out what's the best that you can do. And then it came up to those accessibility issues that I was showing. There's some accessibility issues that it fixed automatically. There's some that he showed the report. Um, and then here's the color table and some other changes. So I think that's basically it. Now I can open up to the questions.
Thank you, Emil. Does anybody have any questions?
And I can tell it looks fairly scary, right? I mean, you have to connect, you have to create a MCP server, you have to connect it to Power BI model, but it's really is a pretty straightforward process.
So Renee in the chat says, "Will you provide a checklist with the steps?"
What I can do actually, so I can definitely share. I can share the. I don't know if I can be able to find it right away, but I can give you the link to the YouTube video that helped me to set it up. I can show you also the prompt, and in that video, it has the prompts, and it has the prompts for like kind of a generic business model. So I didn't use exactly all of his prompts that he used, but I can, so like, let me show you some of them. So like, this is the prompt that I use. See if it's gonna fit.
Says just say yes.
It doesn't require any like admin password.
So when you're connecting Claude to the Power BI, is it just
Mhm.
going through the file that you have, the PBIX file, or is it how does that connection work?
Yes. So it connects to the Power BI file, the PBIX file. It connects to the to those Tyndall, like the one that I showed, the Tyndall and DAX. So it basically
Okay,
looks at the textual description of the data, right? It looks at the things that are kind of that describe things rather than the actual numbers.
right.
And like here, I think I used some of these prompts, maybe not all of them, but it's like it was pretty straightforward process. You connect to the model and you start talking about it. Can you, analyze this model? Can you? It also created all the like table descriptions that I was gonna show you. That is,
Oh,
I feel like it's pretty cool because who has time to go over every single column and every single table and put in the like description? But it does it beautifully. It took like no time at all, right? For every description, create for every you know box
wow.
measure and whatnot, it creates a description. It talks about like what those tables and the columns and everything else, and it purely does it based on logic, right? It looks at what you have and it tries to express it in human terms, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. Have you ever tried to get it to do a spec doc for you, like for your uh, Power BI files?
You okay? Spec out. What do you mean spec out?
Like kind of so if somebody were to come look at my Power BI my dashboard after I leave or something, I'd want to have some sort of documentation that explains the tables, what I'm using, where they're coming from, and things like that, and the calculations that I'm doing.
Yes, I think yes. I think I did that. Yeah, there's a I think yes, there's a okay, sorry, I missed one prompt. Didn't get in there. So this was the prompt. Create a markdown document that provides complete professional documentation. It creates I can't remember now how many pages it's long, but it was like 50, I think 40 to 50 pages document. They
Wow.
just wrote down everything, like it basically described all the connections, all the tables, all the data types, everything that, anybody would need to design it from scratch. And
It's
okay,
huge.
I wanted to kind of mention like I have seen some videos and actually in my office we had like I said, we have some AI kind of like very excited folks, and we have this one guy who's really good, and he came by to our office when I wasn't there, and he said, "Oh, look at AI can actually make a dashboard, right?" So and I've seen, I mean, you can definitely find some videos on YouTube that you feed the data to the AI and it will make a dashboard for you, which is kind of like neat, right? But again, the AI operates on what it has. It doesn't have the context of your knowledge in your institution. What does the student like? Because you all know what the student count can mean so many different things depending on how you look at it and what you need to show in your dashboard and how you lay it out. So there's like a lot of things that kind of go beyond that. So I would say don't use it to do your work for you. Use it to work that you would like this kind of work that's boring and tedious and um, really it's meant for machines, right? I mean, we could take the calculators and calculate the numbers every single day, but like why do it when we have a better way to do it?
We have a few more questions in the chat. Um,
Yeah, I see one from Ken. Ken, the token is definitely an issue. I mean, like I said, I use the free model, and I actually the first round when I went over this whole Power BI thing, I was like he helped me to fix a lot of things, and it took like I don't know, maybe I had some tokens saved up or something, and it worked just fine. And then the next time I tried to do something else, and it would keep cutting me out. So that's why it's good to have time, right? Do it in chunks, just do it in increments, like go one step at a time. But it's definitely an issue. So, and it's sort of like prioritizing the work, like what can we give to AI, but not to like, but things that we can do ourselves before actually it comes to AI. Was there another question? Oh, from the student. Yeah. So I think I already answered that question, right, Kim?
yeah, I think it was the
Yeah,
same one.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, I just had the thing is, I just did a proof of concept, and so I just gave it a data set and said, build me a 4-page Power BI report with KPIs for an administrative level, but it just kept using up my tokens. So it took 2 days, and I thought, oh, I think I could have built that in less than 2 days, but it was cool because it did it all.
Right. Yes, I agree. Did you find you had to do a lot of kind of adjustments and whatnot? Because sometimes when I look at the work, I'm like, I would done it differently.
Yeah, well, my issue was is that it was errors that it was creating using up my tokens. So I was a little bit grumpy about that because, it was your errors. Come on, don't charge me for tokens for your errors.
Absolutely.
For somebody who's not initiated to this tool, I'm assuming that the paid versions come with a larger amount of tokens or there's no token need. Could you explain that a little bit?
I don't know if you want to take it or I mean, I don't like I literally the first time I used the MCP server was a month ago. I have had no previous experience with MCP server. I've heard about the term before. I have some like, very basic idea of like what it does. But the tokens are essentially okay. So the way actually the tokens comes back, I do have a little bit of experience in with LLM, not experience but knowledge of LLM. So the LLMs are essentially the large language model. What it does, you give it a text, right, and it will break out the text into chunks in the words, and it will try to build a meaning between them. So the tokens is a measure of like it's basically how how many how much meaning do you put in this prompt. And it also like I've read some articles about how depending on how you work, sometimes you might want to kind of like when you do the chat, you might want to start from scratch because the way that it works, basically while you work in one chat, you keep adding information to it. That means keeps you using more tokens. And yeah, exactly. So because with every new message, you adding more and more context, and it just like it processes the whole thing. And there are ways to kind of optimize that as well that I've heard about, and it's basically using the skills. and kind of setting up your cloud a little bit more. But I literally have no, like, I haven't done it yet, so I can talk to that. Maybe next time around. But basically, yeah, like, so the tokens is it's sort of a currency, right? You pay the AI in tokens. You have a certain allotment that you can use, and once you're out, then you have to wait until, your next allotment comes in.
Thanks, Emil. Any other questions? I'm sure there have to be questions.
I mean, I would say, yeah, like, I would say, just it's good idea to just try it out, right? Like, I didn't expect it to be that good, and I would never know that it can do all those things unless I try them. Um, and it was very low. Yes, I will. Okay, I will share the PowerPoint, and I will share the link. I'll try to find the YouTube video. Yes, I will find the YouTube video for sure. That talks about setting. If I understand, Cassie, you asking about that link, of setting up.
Correct.
Yes, I will find that, and I don't know, Kathy, do you have the way to email all the attendees afterwards, or do you want me to try to look it up for now?
Yeah, I can communicate with you, Emil, and send out a wrap-up link with all the resources. And apologies, I misinterpreted that. So the link to this recording will be on the Power BI website that we shared earlier.
And I basically, I also wanted to say, like, again, thank you, Kathy, and Stephen, and Daniel, and David, and Jaime, who's not here today. Uh, because you really provide, I feel like it's a great resource that we have, because we have, the very contextualized knowledge in those presentations that we've been posting here for 2 years. There's a lot of great examples. I mean, and if you look at it, there's so many of them that have the, accessibility bits in it. So it's definitely worth looking at that. And I mean, I'd say keep keep your ears and eyes open, because literally yesterday I attended two presentations from our district that was on the kind of accessibility related topics, and I've learned a few new things in like just yesterday. Stephen?
Yeah, you're talking about tokens. I'm wondering if Claude is Claude like the AI model to use for this, or is there another AI that we could use? Like since we have Copilot on 365, could that do a similar thing, you think?
I don't know. The short answer is I don't know. I have you know, I know that I found this video on that connecting the MCP to the cloud. I know you
Yeah.
can actually use the MCP server in the Visual Code as well. So that's another way to use it, and it has the like. I've used it a little bit. I don't think I used the MCP server. I think I used something else.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not sure if Copilot has. I mean, I know the Copilot, ChatGPT has their own thing, like the projects. I don't know if there's like a way to set it up. I mean, probably YouTube would help us, I guess. Um,
Yeah, I was just wondering if anybody had done that before. Amanda in the chat said they use Copilot too. I haven't used it in this capacity yet. Only mostly used for like fixing my DAX, queries and
but
stuff in there.
yeah, I mean I mean, I use Copilot as well, like because this is the tool that comes at our district for free, so it's definitely like, and I mean, I love it. I use it a lot. But yeah, like the way that this connects to a model and work with the model as it is, I think that was like pretty awesome. Oh,
I'll definitely
thank you,
well
Ken.
thank
I
you.
don't know if it's enough. Yes. Yeah, there's ways like in that yesterday presentation, I've heard about the new AI called Poe, Poe, that's actually for transcribing the videos, and I think it was meant more for like faculty. And there's a notebook LM from Google that will help you to take the information from a video or text or anything else and just convert it into kind of a more structured guide format and learning format. So that's like other tools that you can probably use. Any more questions or comments or whatever? Or just share your experience. I would love to hear that. I mean, I really would love to have more examples from the group, because I like every time I attend this presentation, I leave with something that I can use in my work. And I think that's pretty cool.
Well, we're coming up on the end of the hour as well. Do we have the end? It goes till the end of the hour, right, Katie? So but we had planned on sticking around if there was like a parking lot afterwards, if people have questions or anything. Katie and I will stick around. Emil, if you'd like to, you can. We're coming up on the end of the hour of the presentation. I'd like to thank Emil for this presentation. It's really, really awesome. I've not seen AI be used in that capacity before, and how it went in and actually fixed like the issues. That's a huge. Um, so. Well, thank you very much. And we'll stick around for after the hour if anybody wants to chat or has questions. We'll be here.